We are Dan and Laura Rosecrans of the hub of New Mexico. In Psalm 139, verses 13 and 14, God gives us a very detailed, intimate look at our very own beginning, your beginning and mine. In that passage of Scripture, we're told, we were created by God. You created my innermost being. You knit me together in my mother's womb. I praise you because I'm fearfully and wonderfully made. Your works are wonderful. I know that full well. God's involved in the creation of every life. 44 years ago today, January the 22nd, 1973, the United States Supreme Court, in a 7-2 vote, legalized abortion in all 50 states.
At the age of 16, I was delivered to the door of what will become my personal hell for the next 33 years. A sexual predator, 5 years my senior, trying to cover up for statutory rape, dropped me off at the abortion clinic, handed me the money, left me there alone at those doors.
One of the arguments for abortion in our society is that it is a woman's right to choose what she wants to do with her body.
It was not my choice. I didn't want to be there. I didn't know who to turn to. I didn't want to bring shame to my mother. My Catholic girls' school had told me that I would be kicked out if I got pregnant. I didn't know who to go to, who to turn to. Naively, I thought that when I entered that abortion clinic, they might be able to help me. I told them I didn't want to be there. I felt this was murder. Instead of helping me, they took me back to another room and recounseled me to convince me that what I was doing was going to be the right choice for me.
It has been pounded into our thinking by media, by our society, that it is a woman's body, it's a woman's right, and it's a woman's choice.
Choice? Can you really call it choice when statistics show that 60% of women who show up at abortion clinic have been coerced by the man who got them pregnant, by their families, or by the abortion clinics themselves?
If you knew that abortion hurt women, would you rethink your position? Regardless of whether your position is for abortion or just plain indifference.
I'm here to tell you this morning that abortion does hurt women. And I'm standing before you today as a woman who was deeply affected by what I did.
92% of women who had an abortion experience emotional deadening.
A part of me died on Thursday day when I watched my baby being taken out in a trash bag. I knew that my life was never going to be the same again.
86% of post-aborted women feel an increased tendency toward anger and rage.
I went into that clinic a scared 16-year-old little girl. I left an angry and scarred woman. The rage inside me grew for years until I didn't even recognize who I was anymore.
89% of the women who have had an abortion fear that somebody else, particularly someone in the church, may know that they had an abortion.
I kept my abortion hidden for 33 years. Only a handful of people knew what I had done. And I planned to take that secret with me to the grave. But God had other plans for me.
56% of women who've had an abortion experience suicidal feelings. 53% increase or begin using drugs and or alcohol to deaden the pain.
I became an alcoholic. That was the only way that I knew how I could try and forget what I had done, and to deaden those feelings and those emotions and the memories. I also drank because I was hoping that I would give myself a slow death, because I wanted to die because of what I had done to my child.
Unbelievably, 28% of post-aborted women actually attempt suicide.
That's a lot of women. A lot of women. Since 1973, there have been 60 million abortions, 60 million babies that have been murdered in our country. That's a third of a generation. Think of that. A third of a generation is gone. 1 out of every 3 people are not here. If you were born after 1973, you are considered by the pro-life movement as a survivor of the Holocaust, which is abortion in this country. 1 out of every 3 women have had an abortion. That's in our churches, the places that you work, wherever you go. That number is cemented in my brain now. I can't be in a function anymore where there's a bunch of women without thinking, okay, 1 out of every 3 of these women have had an abortion. And the number of men who are also fathers that lost children is astronomical.
In New Mexico, the human toll is huge. There are 3 places on this planet where it is legal to perform a late-term abortion. That would be an abortion after 20 weeks of gestation. Those 3 places: China, North Korea, New Mexico.
This means that a woman at 40 weeks pregnant can get off at Lomas Avenue in Albuquerque, and she can either go east to deliver her baby at a hospital, or she can choose to go to the west, to go to the late-term abortion clinic, Southwestern Women's Options, and choose to end the life of her child there. It happens daily in Albuquerque. We have people coming in from all over the world and all over the United States to come and have an abortion here.
So how does a woman or a man who participated in an abortion come to that point where they can forgive themselves?
6 years after my abortion, I joined the United States Air Force. God did a miraculous work in my life at that point. I got saved. That was a miracle, believe me. I was living a life that was horrific. I was able to accept Christ's forgiveness for every one of my sins except one: my abortion. I knew there was no way that my God could forgive me for what I had done. I married into an abusive relationship because I felt I deserved no better. I did have 5 beautiful children who are my pride and joy. God blessed me mightily. But I became super mom because I wanted to prove that I could be a great mom after what I had done to my first child. I finally left my husband when the abuse started turning towards my youngest daughter. And that's when God brought me Dan. Dan, I knew, was a godly and righteous man, and I let him know about my abortion immediately because I wanted him to know the filth that he was dating. But instead of running away from me, he's stubborn, and he hang on. And he made it his mission to find me a healing Bible study that I could go through. 8 weeks after coming out of that study, I came out healed, whole, and set free. That was 3 years ago this January. And I praise God that I was finally able to accept his forgiveness. Forgiving ourselves is not an option. That's not biblical. It's not a biblical term to say, I need to forgive myself. What is biblical is that we're able to accept the forgiveness that Jesus Christ our Lord gave to us by his blood on the cross, and to be able to accept that our abortions are not above the cross, but that his death can cover even that sin of abortion.
So there it is. Jesus Christ forgives. There is hope and there is healing in Jesus. And yet, the carnage continues. Oddly, 70% of women who have abortions in America today come from evangelical or Catholic churches. 70%. As a matter of fact, 65% of the women who will have an abortion this week are sitting in church this morning.
What we're here today to present to you is CareNet has a new curriculum. It's called Making Life Disciples. And we are going to begin these trainings very soon. CareNet's hope is to be able to get somebody in every church, everywhere, that can be that life disciple that can be presented in the bulletin or however it is. So that if there is a woman, and there are women, you just heard 65% who are sitting in churches, if they can see that, that might be that life choice that they might be able to go to. If you're interested in that kind of training, let us know, please. We would love to have a team. We need men and women because, of course, for the young men that find themselves in that situation, also they need to have a man to go to. And I just want to tell you, if there is somebody here who has had an abortion, please, please seek healing. I teach the class now that I went through. And I love it. I love to see the faces of women when they finally realize that, yes, Christ has forgiven them. It's a beautiful thing. So please, if you know of someone who has had an abortion that needs that healing, please, please let them know that we do have help here. And I thank you to Pastor Rick, because him and Brian have done a marvelous job here of letting women know that they are in a safe place in this church. And I praise God for that. Thank you.
We want you to know that if you're pregnant, that your life is not over. There are real choices and real people who will help you and put their arms around you in this time of need. For those of you who are here this morning whose heart is broken because of your part in an abortion, Jesus Christ loves you. He has forgiven you.
And in closing, I would like to read a poem that I wrote in my healing class to my son, John, who I know is waiting for me in heaven. Precious was your life, as short-lived as it was. Precious have been the sorrow-filled memories. Precious has been the journey that has been difficult to walk, but precious is the forgiveness of our Lord and Savior for the mistakes made long ago. Precious is the freedom of finally letting go of the pain, the guilt, and the shame. Precious are the new thoughts of you, my child, and the joy you bring to me. Precious is your life in the hands of our loving Father. And precious will be the moment I finally get to hold you in my arms, look into your eyes for the first time and tell you face to face, I love you, my precious.